I'm going to begin with a poem called A Man Like You But Older. We were talking over dinner about a famous son of mine who has been on some reality TV programs in California. And he's actually, he was born in Italy. And the silly Italians, they don't think that pregnant women are sick, so they don't make them go to hospitals, where people have pneumonia and leprosy and stuff like that. They send them instead to the what's called the Casa di Cura, or the care house, which are special birthing places for women, which is a very, very, very nice custom. And Will was born there some years ago under, as you'll see, some frightening circumstances. But another thing you will see is that things in these poems don't necessarily occur simply by themselves. They are sometimes in tandem with subject matters that you might not associate with. Well, let me read the poem. Here's how you find a really good restaurant. You go to the part of the town where you want to eat, and then you stand around until you see someone who looks like you. Or a slightly better fed version of yourself, maybe. Someone just a little paunchier than you are, and a year or two older, and certainly someone more affluent than you are, but not much, because after all, you're thinking ahead here. You're looking for the person you'll be in a couple of years, the one who really knows where to go and what to get, not the person you are now. For as much as you love yourself, it goes without saying that in the future, you expect to be someone you love even more, someone you absolutely worship, a person you'd spend every waking moment with if you weren't that person already. You certainly don't want to accost the person you'll be in 40 years. This one is liable to be stove up from excesses, or by the same token, puritanical and disapproving, or maybe just someone with whom you no longer share, don't yet share, enough common cultural references, and therefore someone with whom you can no more converse than I might have with the self I was 27 years ago behind the shuttered windows of the Casa di Cura on the Via Pietro Tuar, where I stood just this afternoon, brushing back my graying hair and squinting to see inside the delivery room where my younger self wields and holds his head in his hands and tries not to weep with rage and frustration. My son Will has just been born, and he isn't breathing. And the Italian doctor and the nurses have taken him into another room. And I'm afraid they're going to bring him back dead. And my wife is sleeping like a baby herself, though her blood is everywhere. And there's no one for me to talk to, and I'm afraid they're going to come in and hand me this dead child and say, "Mi dispiace tanto," and I'll say, "I'm sorry too." And then what will I say, and to whom? The man I finally ask about the restaurant is a dreamy sort who's licking an ice cream cone with an air of more than just a little self-satisfaction, and who answers my query with a restrained enthusiasm that I find charming now that I'm sitting with Barbara in the place he recommended and waiting for what promises to be some excellent roast fish, grilled vegetables, and cold wine to arrive, and remembering how unhappy my younger self was, the self with darker hair and perfect eyesight, but no real worldly experience of any kind. Yet I thought he was the oldest man in the world, though I was just 27 myself. And then a nurse comes back with Will in her arms, and he looks like any other baby, like a bewildered mushroom. And she hands him to me, and I feel his breath on my cheek. And for a moment I'm frozen, still petrified by the horror of everything that had almost happened. And then suddenly something goes off inside my chest like a nova exploding, and I feel all this love for the infant Will Kirby, this bawling bunch of wrinkled protoplasm. But that was 27 years ago, and now Will is himself a doctor, an American one. He started breathing there in Florence and kept at it and came home in a little sling and not a coffin, and he drank his milk and he ate his mashed bananas. And he went to school and to med school and is himself now bringing babies back to life, their fathers as crazy with fear as I that day. How I wish I had walked over and thrown back the shutters and looked out the window and seen my older self there on the sidewalk, smiling and waving.